The recording.
Is it rolling?
Let me focus it on your face. There we go. Your face.
Okay.
Well, here we go. It's been a year.
It's been a year after we promised big things for this year. We've done absolutely nothing.
Well, actually,
we've done a lot.
Not completely. Yeah, we've actually done a lot. It's just not been documented on YouTube.
Yeah, we've been lazy.
Yeah. So, I think one of the main things we stopped recording. We have got a video that's coming out soon. Maybe actually in the next couple of days after this video. The reason why we haven't released that yet is because it's a bit unfinished and it's kind of hard to finish it now because we filmed it months ago.
Yeah, and since then there's been more changes made to the car in question, so we actually can't finish the video.
Yeah, but we won't say what the car is now because the video isn't out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we also don't have the old workshop anymore.
No, as you can tell, we're in
a new place.
This is only temporary. We are looking to get a bigger workshop soon. Yeah, we're going to get a massive workshop, hopefully, in the new year. It all just comes down to cost, really, because it's a massive outgoing having a workshop, and if you're only doing it pretty much to make videos, it can be an expensive hobby, so hopefully we're just going to we'll get somewhere bigger and a lot less shed-like. This, however...
This will do for like the first few videos, but we're hoping like, I mean we're doing this for fun anyway, but you know, if we do get more viewers and subscribers and everything, we can put the money that the channel makes back into the channel, which means more projects. The project that we're working on now is like massive and no one's doing it.
No.
But
this project has actually been going now for about 6 years and has actually been in this workshop. So this isn't new. This has been happening in the background for the last 6 years. I've always had this workshop and it's always been here, but it's never been to a stage where I was comfortable filming it. So now we've actually got somewhere with it. We're going to kind of show you what it actually is, what we've been doing, what I'm going to do, and just kind of show you around it, really.
Honestly, no one's ready for it.
Nah.
Unless you follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, you know what it is. I'm getting a bit more of following on Instagram now as well.
And actually, the reason why we're starting again with this car is because so many people want to see videos on it. Yeah. So our plans are pretty much just pump out videos on this one project. We're not really going to be doing too much side videos. We'll do maybe a couple if we like set up like a car meet or something, then we'll do a video on it. Yeah. But the main like priority for this channel now will just be filming this one car that the camera is sitting on right now. Yeah, because we're so low budget, we haven't got a fucking camera stand. It's just a box on the project car. It's so bad. Main plans, with your help, hopefully we can get a big workshop to be making more videos out of it and also finishing this car. Like I said, any income that the channel makes is going to go back into the channel because we just want to make this like a big thing. We hopefully want to make it a big thing. If it doesn't, we're just doing it for a hobby. Yeah, I mean, there's so many projects between all of us as well that we've got to get finished as well. Projects that we have actually filmed stuff on, but haven't, like Gaz's golf. Yeah, we made a video on that. That's not even been seen yet, and again, we need the workshop space to actually be able to work on that car to get it to a point where it's actually usable. And also we need the space to film because currently it's just abandoned outside in the car park, just getting rained on. So yeah, we want one big workshop to bring everything all into one space so you can see all the action happening. So the main focus is going to be on this project to try and document a lot of this. On the side there's going to be other shit happening as well. Just little skits, little side projects, just to keep the channel like we still want to pump out like regular content, but obviously for this car, it's money as well. It's a very expensive, time-consuming build. So like said, there'll be main sort of like the main priority will be this car, and then just a couple of like side projects just to keep like videos pumping out on the channel. I think that's it.
I think so.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to take you for a little walk around.
We'll go around the car and then we'll go around this workshop. This is actually a really undisclosed location.
Yeah, this is top secret location.
No one knows. No one will know where it is. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's...
Near Ipswich, 6 years of my life. All of my money. Some of my friends. So many relationships, girlfriends. I was once married. More. I've had to sacrifice children.
Alright, just show us the car. We want to see the car.
Here it is.
Cause they hickeys and deep down I know you miss me, rolling sticky while I'm riding through the city, but don't take me cause I'm really feeling empty and I ain't afraid to catch your body, nigga, I got plenty, I be inside of you, don't nobody get you wetter, and if you had to choose, don't nobody love you better.
Okay, so we'll do I suppose a tour of the car now. The first thing that's noticeable, I think, is that it's fucking low. It's really low. So it's sitting on 15-inch, one-of-a-kind custom wheels. Now they say BBS, they've got BBS centre caps on. However, they're not actually BBS wheels. They're some weird wheel make from France, and they weren't actually split rim. They've then been cut down, machined, and then mounted onto a BBS zero lip hardware. So they're BBS style, they're cool, they're ridiculous offset and they're a nightmare to fit. They've got 50mm spacers on all round. That's just too much. But these are, I don't know if these are going to be the final wheel that I actually run on the car, but they're a really good mock-up wheel to begin with, really. The biggest job that we've done on this car to begin with was it's actually been body dropped 3 inches. Now, to my knowledge, this is the only Corrado that anyone has ever done a body drop on, so that would then make this the lowest Corrado in the world. Weight reduction. Weight reduction is a big thing. So at the front here, this is just one of the very few bits that's actually somewhat finished. It's a slam panel. I spent probably the best part of 2 days drilling and filing holes out where most people would smooth these off and make them all pretty and stuff for shows. I've just ruined it with a million holes, and I've reduced so much weight in by doing that. My end goal for the car really is just to kind of maximise the power to weight ratio on it. So any bit of garbage that Volkswagen put on here that I didn't need, just cut it off, just chuck it in the bin. So much has been cut off. There's a pile there. Just that's the latest pile of shit that I didn't need that Volkswagen left for me. Some chassis rails, and it's heavy as fuck as well. There's probably there's got to be 50 kilos of steel in it.
Oh my god.
So throughout the car, there's been a lot of subtle body modifications. My personal favourite is the vented wing. So I've yet to actually do the other side yet, but originally this was just flat here, and I kind of cut it, pushed it in and welded it and filled it, and it took many days to get it just right. The reason the car is also multicoloured as well and is 50 shades of fucking grey and black is because certain parts of the body are kind of sitting at different stages. So this wing, this is in one of the final priming stages in a black high build. The lighter grey, that is just our etch prime. So going back about a year or two ago, me and Gaz, we actually bare metaled this whole shell by hand. Once it was bare metaled, then we put the epoxy etch primer on. Just completely stops everything from rusting, and it's by far the best product you can ever start a bare metal restoration with. And then on top of the epoxy primer, we then keyed it up and then started putting in our layers of fillers and things like that. I didn't want to put them directly onto the bare metal because Filler does have a tendency to sweat and absorb moisture, and then that eventually, once sealed in another layer of paint or primer, it's going to sweat. It's then going to start rotting itself away from the inside out, which is what a lot of it's what happens to a lot of cars that have had cheap shit restorations, basically. So this quarter here has got a darker primer on at the moment because we've filled and then reprimed, because there used to be a fuel filler cap somewhere around here. We're not going to be running standard fuel tank on this. It's going to have a aluminium race cell in the boot. So there was no need to have an ugly fuel filler cap on the side. So now it's all been smoothed off and it matches parallel with the other side. It needs a little bit more work, a little bit more fettling, but then once that's done, then it will be the whole car, well, the whole shell will then get the high build black primer on top, which will then be the foundation for our base coat when we actually come around to painting this. Plenty clearance for our wheels. It took months of rolling out these arches. I think I do have a photo of a small video somewhere of how thin these arches are, but they are literally millimeters. This car will also roll at this height. Like, it's not sat on tyre or anything. It will actually, I mean, technically, as long as you're on a nice flat road and you only have to go in a straight line, you can drive it this way. I would advise it, and I will never do it, but I can. So one of the most noticeable things I think currently is the rear end. We've had to, well, in order to get the car as low as it sits without any kind of issues, we've actually cut out the entire rear of the car, and we've mounted a Mark II Golf Rally rear beam, and then we've mounted that on a floating space frame chassis. It still needs a little bit of a neaten up in here, but ultimately most of the rear end is going to stay like this. It's all going to be exposed and open, and you're going to see all of the mechanical elements of like the diff and the drive shafts. Everything is all going to be visible and you're going to be able to see it. It also is just more weight reduction. It's only going to be a two-seater. There's so much unnecessary weight in the back of this that it just didn't need. The roll cage tubing is so much lighter than what it had in there structurally. So everything that is structural has been replaced with tube. So pretty much most of the rear end now is just a complete space frame. And eventually, when we get round to it, the front end is going to get space frame too. But I do love how it all looks open and everything from the back. And then obviously with the boot closed and everything from, if you were just going to walk past it at a show, you'll see through the window and you're going to see quite literally how it is now. You're going to see everything exposed, obviously neater and cleaned up more, but it's going to be fundamentally all to see, all visible, all there, with the addition of fuel tanks, fuel lines and bottles of NOS. Because fucking, you know, boost. So obviously with all the tubing, space frame, the roll cage itself, everything that we've done, everything's all been done ourselves. And this is the first time I've ever had anything to do with roll cage, tubing and space framing and just any tube work at all. Never done anything like it before. I've actually started mocking up the doors here, the door bars. There's still going to be a lot more steel go in here as yet, and there's still a lot more. This is kind of only very roughly tacked in place, but there's a lot more work to be done. But there's going to be tubes coming from like this bend point here down to this furthest point of the corner. So it's going to be very, very impractical and very difficult to get in and out of this car. It's not going to be easy to get in at all, because obviously the seating position as well of this car, we've had to move everything further back. So the seats of the car are going to be pretty much backed up to the main hoop. It's going to be the safest point in the car. I wouldn't want to sit anywhere else in it. All the steering column and the steering rack, everything like that, that's all been extended and it's going to be brought back as well. So your steering wheel's probably going to be sitting around here somewhere, and then the seats here. So you've got kind of like this little hole here effectively to get into the car. And when the cars are kind of like, you know, waist height, it actually measures in at 42 inches tall. So, you know, a normal sized TV on its side. That's how tall this car is. I've tripped over it so many times. All the cage, all the bends and everything that we've done, we've used this, which is a JD Square Model 2 tube bender. Literally the most amazing, important bit of kit I've ever invested in. Paid for itself already, it's fantastic. If you decide that you wanna do this yourself, it actually works out cheaper. If you don't mind making a few little mistakes here and there, it works out cheaper to actually do it yourself. To have a roll cage as complex as that, actually fabricated, designed, welded in your car, you know, it's gonna be a lot. You know, you're talking like $3,000 up. To buy the tube bender and all the tube, it's gonna be a lot less. But it's a big learning curve. You're gonna make mistakes along the way, but it's an amazing bit of kit, and it's the only tube bender that I would ever consider using to actually build roll cages with. There's a lot of other pipe benders out there that you can get for cheaper, but they have got a big tendency to crease the metal as you're bending it, whereas this has actually got a special chase through guide that eliminates and stops any creasing from happening, and we can bend up to 180 degrees on this die as well, which is going to come real handy for some of the bends that we've actually got to make in the future. Like I said, the rear end has been space framed. The front end will probably end up getting space framed as well, so that half of it we're obviously going to document, and we'll kind of show you how to actually use this piece of equipment. But it's wicked. The only trouble is it takes up a lot of room for something that's not big. It's got to be placed right smack bang in the middle of your fucking workshop, and lengths of tube, they normally come in at about 6 meters each, so you need like 6 meters, like at least that way, for the tube to kind of sit in, and then you kind of bend around what you need. It can be a pain in the arse, so you do need a decent sized workshop, hence why we want somewhere bigger, so we can do more of this kind of stuff really. But yeah, we'll show you some of this shenanigans in the future with all of this. Where we're at the moment with the car, the hard part's been done, the body drop itself. So what we actually had to do effectively was cut out all of the floor and all of the main chassis rails to the whole front end of the car, and then cut 3 inches off of that, and then bring it all back up, and then weld it all back into the car, seam weld it all back in. Now, the reason, to my knowledge, that this has not been done before is the difficulty level behind it. It's not something to be taken on by the faint-hearted or by a novice by all means. I know I'm not an absolute expert or professional, but I've had a lot of years of like general fabricating and mechanical experience anyways. There's a lot of important cuts that need to be made when you're sectioning a car, and if you get those wrong by even like a millimeter, you've effectively written your car off, and it's not going to drive straight, and it's not going to be strong or safe. So everything that we've done on this body drop wise, we've lasered in, we've lasered back in again, lasered in and out, and we've worked within like 0.5 millimeter of tolerance, and normally we've been pretty bang on the whole time, but yeah, normally 0.5 mil you can get away with like tracking and stuff like that, but it's really accurate, and we was really happy with what we done. It takes a very kind of stupid person really to cut up a classic desirable Volkswagen, a classic desirable anything really, and do this to it. You know, you've got the initial investment of buying the car itself, then you need somewhere like here, you need an environment where you can afford it to not be used at all for a long period of time, 6 years. You need to be prepared to know that if you do make a mistake, that car's trash in the bin. So it was very important to take our time with it and make sure that it was done right. So the next step now that all of that difficult part has been done and the car can actually now sit as low as it does, the next part that we're at now is engine running gear and seats. Currently, it's got kind of like a factory tunnel. You can actually... This is the original part of the tunnel, and this part used to be down there. Now, obviously Corrado was a front-wheel drive car from factory. In order to get this as low as it is and for it actually to drive, it's now going to have to be rear-wheel drive. There's no way to get the suspension to go down low enough on the front if you've actually got drive shafts going there, because the front suspension rams, obviously this is going to be on hydraulic suspension, and the front rams your front suspension legs effectively with the top mounts, when they're fully compressed, they're 4 inches tall, so that's not very tall at all. And if you want them any longer, then the car's not going to sit as low, and if you wanted to mount them lower down, you're not going to get drive shafts through. So there's so many issues when it comes to actually making it work. So this tunnel obviously isn't going to be the one that is going to be remaining in here. We're going to be making our own tunnel to accommodate for the new engine, gearbox and the exhausts that are coming through. But we can't make the tunnel until we've got the seats, because we need to know where our seats are going to be positioned so we can maximise the size of the tunnel to make sure we've got enough room for props and exhausts to come through, but also make sure that the seat is also in the right place. I can't run the risk of cutting all this out, putting a tunnel in, and then it be too narrow for our seats, or we have too much room and then it be too narrow for our exhaust and gearbox to fit through.
And what seats are you going for?
Light ones, very light ones.
I'll put a picture up on the screen, but these are the seats that are going in the car.
Kirky do really like amazing lightweight race seats, and it will tie in with the rest of the car. I think they're a little bit of a Marmite seat, love or hate. I think they're sick. There's no padding on them, there's no cushion. They're going to be absolutely horrible to sit and drive in because the car's going to have dog shit suspension for like comfort anyways. This car is not practical at all, as demonstrated. And there's not even a seat in it yet, or half of the door bars. Like, it's just nothing about this car was a good idea, and I should never have built it in the first place. It is difficult to get in and out of. It will be even more difficult to get in and out of when it's done. You can't park it anywhere because you won't be able to see it in the car park underneath all the other cars, and someone will probably run over it thinking that there's nothing in that. Yeah, there's a speed bump there, it's just useless. It's a completely useless car. It's not even watertight because there's a fucking hole in the floor. The only reason I've built this car, the only reason, is just to be the lowest one. Not for it to be a good car, not for it to look cool, quite simply just to beat everyone else. And in doing so, I've ruined it. But, looks cool. So that's basically most of the car kind of discussed. Probably blabbed on for fucking ages. We've been here fucking hours now. It's obviously getting cut down loads, but that's basically the gist of the car. Now, obviously, in order to be doing this and to build the car, we need a lot of fucking tools and a lot of equipment. Obviously, we've got the tube bender, which we've discussed, obviously toolbox and many tools, just a real basic MIG welder setup. We haven't got anything fancy at the moment. I'm probably going to invest in a better welder at some point, but this has done well for now. It was probably like 150 quid for the welder and like the gas bottle and stuff, so it really wasn't expensive to sell. Some people literally spend thousands on the welders. I'd love to spend thousands on my welder. I have to spend thousands on this fucking heap instead. Anyways, we've also got this is Shaniqua. You know why we call it Shaniqua. Big ass air compressor. I think it like taps out at like fucking 10 bar. So like if it went off, everyone would die. Sick. Obviously, there's a lot of parts that we take off, and we don't want to buy new ones, so we just refurb them and restore them. We got ourselves an enormous sandblaster. You know,
expensive tools again.
Yeah, you know, this equipment ain't cheap at all. But once you've got it, you've got it, and it's so handy to have them in your workshop. Obviously, like I say, not everyone can afford the big tools or the space to put them in, because this takes up a lot of fucking room. Like, so much room. It's like a massive. It's bigger than a fridge, isn't it? It's huge. It's fucking massive. We've put a 20-inch alloy with a tyre on in here, and it fit, and there was wiggle room. And then next to that, it's just a powder coating oven. So obviously, everything that we do here is done in house. So once the build has got to a stage where we can start the finishing touches on it, all of the running gear, etc., all powder coated. So we've got our own powder coater. Or powder coating oven. So everything can be powder coated and done in house. We haven't got to send it out to have someone do it.
And then you're waiting.
You're waiting for it to come back. You're spending even more money. Again, you know, if you're planning on doing a lot of projects in the future, like we are at lockdown, this can come in handy, because we can then basically just anything we make. We've got, say for instance, we want to build a bolt-in roll cage for a car. We can bend that roll cage, we can weld it up, and then we can powder coat it. And then it's a finished actual part that we can just develop ourselves. So again, eventually, once we've got a bigger workshop, then we can get more tools. I would like to get like a milling machine, a lathe, etc. So, you know, we can make more finer, cooler, one-off bespoke parts. But that's pretty much, I mean, we've got backup compressor here for if, you know, Big Nasty dies, but I don't think it's...
Big Nasty.
Big Nasty. And then down there, there's just like, that's just more shit that's kind of just like some bikes and shit that's like got, yeah, that's just poo. We don't worry about that. But we also, we will be doing some stuff on bikes.
Yeah,
yeah. Gaz has bought one, and we're going to do... I suppose kind of like a
custom
little
yeah.
125 chopper build thing, so that'd be quite cool.
That's the sort of like side projects we'll have.
Yeah,
for
just
the
the little ones. Just don't take a lot.
Just
of time
a custom
or money.
bike or something, you know.
Super easy to kind of get through, and it doesn't take a lot of working out. But yeah, I just farted. Stinks.
Oh mate, I think that's it, isn't it? Just more stuff down there. Fridge, microwave,
shelf. For stuff, our favourite product ever, and if you've watched the Vento video, you'll know. So
that's like
stocks.
Honestly, Raptor, if we could do sort out a sponsorship or a partnership.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor me, Raptor,
it's honestly such
good
stuff.
It's the best stuff. It's just so good. My favourite tool in here, I think, is this beast. You can put all sorts of attachments on it, including your mum's dildo. Next episode, I don't know when it's going to be out. We're probably going to crack on with more fabrication, cut and grinding welding. A lot of this is going to be cut, grinding, welding. There's going to be bodywork stuff on it as well. Yeah, just general stuff, but obviously it takes us time to film it, then it takes Brandon more time to actually edit it up and actually make it into a video that's actually worth watching, that's not just shit. So yeah, and if you enjoy and want to see more, obviously, give us a subscribe, give us a like.
It goes such a long way for us, because we're such a small channel at the moment. We have like had a lot of interest in the channel as well. Like, people do genuinely enjoy watching our videos.
Yeah.
Maybe they have moved on now, but if you're still here, then thanks for watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, subscribing, watching the videos, we can get like stuff done.
Exactly,
Like,
and
it just helps, and it costs nothing as well.
Exactly. I mean, just a simple share, or share on Facebook or Instagram or whatever your platform is. And give us subscribe to the channel, give us a like. If there's anything specific that you guys want to see, and that we've not actually kind of divulged into too much in this video, then obviously just drop a comment, even send us a message. No nudes. Or maybe nudes. Send nudes!
Don't do it. We can make an entire video on doing a roll cage.
Yeah.
So that's from like the first step to the last step. So we can do that here.
Yeah, everything could be done in house, like I say. The fabrication, the welding, the paintwork itself, because obviously we're going to be painting the car as well. The full respray we'll be doing ourselves.
Yeah.
Installing hydraulics, all of that shenanigans.
All of it is done here.
Everything's done here, and all of it's going to get documented. But if there's anything specific to this build that you do want to see, obviously just let us know, and we'll try our best to kind of capture it in high definition.
Yeah, that's the next thing. We want to get a 4K camera as well.
Is that not 4K?
No.
Is that a dead thing?
It's an old camera. But yeah. Alright. Thanks for watching. Bye.
See you later, bastard.